what does it actually look like the day that you have one of these events and the students make a contact?
It's chaos.
It's chaos. Okay. Hey, this is James, November 0, Whiskey Radio Lima. I'm here with...
I'm Tanya Anderson, KD9BQZ.
Tanya, and we are here at ISS, which as you know is amateur radio on the International Space Station, and one of the most exciting things happening in amateur radio today, and one of the ways that we're also engaging our youth, getting them into STEM, and teaching them about space exploration, electronics, radio communications. Tanya, what do you do over at ISS? What's your role there?
I am the Director of Education for ISS USA.
Oh, so you're the person that we need to talk to because you're the one that is actually, I believe, working with the schools and that type of thing. Am I right?
Yes, so I have an education committee, so I have a group of educators around the country that go in and work with the schools directly. We hold teacher workshops, we hold student workshops, so yeah.
Okay, that is awesome because I've seen a lot of these videos with schools making contacts. They get everybody together, they actually make a contact with the International Space Station, talk to astronauts. You're one of the people that's making all of that happen.
Yep, so my team, every school that is chosen for a contact, they get an ISS Education Ambassador.
Wow.
And so that ambassador works with the teachers at the school to make sure the education plan leading up to the contact is taking place and answering any questions and helping with any problems they have.
That is awesome. And before we get into the process of how you know, because I want to help educate some of these schools about what this process is, but maybe like walk us through what does it actually look like the day that you have one of these events and the students make a contact? Like, what is it like the day at
It's chaos.
It's chaos.
It's
okay,
chaos.
okay.
So normally the school has been working for 4 to 6 months leading up to this contact. So there's a lot of pressure because it is an experiment. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that the contact's going to happen. So normally they have the day, they have an assembly where they bring the entire student body into the gym or the auditorium.
Right.
They will have different speakers, they'll show different videos, the students will present different projects they've been working on, and then it's go time and everybody keeps their fingers crossed, and then the contact happens, then everybody celebrates, everybody can sigh, big sigh of relief, and then there's usually, some activities and things that the students do afterwards.
And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, especially if you're kind of new to amateur radio on the International Space Station and things like this, is it's not like the space station is just hovering over you at all times and you can just radio up and make a contact. I mean, you're talking about something that relative to Earth is probably moving at, I would say hundreds, if not thousands of miles per hour relative to the point on the ground. And so there's also a very big aspect of timing the contact, am I right?
Yes, you have 10 minutes, and that's a perfect contact, right? So that's horizon to horizon. So every second is precious because you want to have as many students' questions answered as possible because this is their moment.
I mean, that's a big moment. 4 to 6 months of planning and getting to work with ready for the school, and you've got a 10-minute window when you've got to make it happen, and you're hoping for best conditions, you're hoping for the right setup so you can actually make. But I mean, it's all worth it, I'm sure, when a student finally makes a contact with an astronaut.
It is, and I remember my contact with my school. It almost brings a tear to your eye when you hear the astronaut come back on the other end. You're like, it worked. Everybody's happy. You didn't disappoint anyone. So.
Now, let me ask you this: do you know which astronaut you might be making a contact with?
So schools usually know about a week ahead of time when the crew schedule is finally set, so about a week ahead of time. But we always tell the schools, this is space flight, so anything can happen at any time.
Yeah.
The astronaut can be switched out last minute, the timing can change, nothing is guaranteed.
Now, I know that there's probably a lot of educators out there who could be watching this video and they're thinking, okay, this sounds awesome, I want to bring this to my school. I'm sure they don't just call up and you're there the next week making a contact, right? There's some sort of process that they need to follow. So maybe you could tell us a little bit more about what the process is like.
Sure. So we have a competitive proposal process that opens up 4 times a year. You can find the proposal on our website. And so
that's just IRIS.org.
IRIS.org or even IRIS-USA.org, either one. So the proposal asks some basic information about contact people at the school, which amateur radio club you're working with. And then a big part of our proposal is that 4 to 6 month education plan leading up. So how are you going to engage your entire student body in multiple areas of your curriculum leading up to the contact? We do have a proposal guide up on our website also. We have a YouTube video that answers questions about the proposal, and we hold informational webinars to help educators work through this process.
That's amazing. And I mean, I'm sure you see amazing results. Like you said, it feels like a little bit like magic in the actual moment, but I think it's, if you have all of the education leading up, then kids are actually reinforcing a lot of the learning and information, and then there's the aspect of the inspiration. So would you say that coming out of an experience like this, that a lot of the, you do see a lot of the engagement or maybe inspiration for kids to continue that educational path?
Absolutely. They're always asking what's next.
Yeah.
What's next? What can we do with amateur radio? What can we do with space exploration? So they actually want to do more, and that's great, because that's the whole point of this program. We want them engaged, we want them excited, we want them seeking more information.
Yeah, and that's one of the main purposes of amateur radio in general. Amateur radio is something that, yeah, of course it's a hobby, of course we know it's used for emergency communications and things like that, but when you're making contacts and you're learning about frequencies, you're learning about antennas, you're learning about radio technologies, these are the same technologies that make everything around us work. This is how we have Wi-Fi, this is how we have 5G connections, this is how we have Starlink and these type of internet connections that are, so I just think the work that you guys are doing is incredible. And I want to ask, maybe a last sort of thing is, since we have a lot of the beginners, what tips do you have for maybe some new hams out there, or maybe even educators who are very interested in this and they just maybe don't know quite where to start?
I would go to our website, I would contact your local amateur radio club, see what they know, and then an easy way to get involved is our slow scan events, where you don't need more than a handheld radio and an arrow antenna.
I love that.
Capture pictures.
I love that. So let's dig into that a little bit more, because a lot of people think that if they're going to make some sort of contact on an amateur radio or a satellite, that you need to have some fancy equipment. But you're saying that with just a handheld radio, you can maybe just get digging at what is SSTV? What is this?
So SSTV is slow scan television. So basically the images are sent down through radio waves, and you have them appear line by line. So it's kind of the same way your phone works, but it's not quite as fast, right?
Right.
And you can hear the information coming down, and you can capture it with just a handheld, and you can record it on your phone and use apps on your phone to actually see the pictures.
That's awesome. And that's one of the lessons we're going to actually be doing for our students at Ham Radio Prep, is getting started with SSTV with just very minimal equipment. So that's so awesome, Tanya. Anything else that you wanted to share with people before we continue?
No, I encourage all educators to take a look at our website and see if this is something we can help you bring into your school.
Thank you so much, Tanya.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
We've helped over 60,000 students get their US FCC amateur radio license, and we can help you too, no matter your age or educational background. Go to www.hamradioprep.com and try a free lesson today.